Well, let's get started. And first, I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you for being here to learn more about the Global Ambassador Program. If you haven't met me yet, which I haven't, of course, met everybody across the U.S., but I'm Sue Ann Schrader. I'm the Central Regional Support Person, and also I recently took on the role of the Global Ambassador Coordinator. So very excited to have you here and help you to learn more about what the program looks like. So Miranda and I and a whole team of people have been working to make this a great program for you. The last few months, we've been piloting the program with high school students. We have received some feedback from those students, high school staff, CRs like yourselves, RMs, RSSs. And with that feedback, we have revamped the Global Ambassador Program, and we're hoping that it's going to make it more structured and more supportive for you. So here's our agenda for the day. How many of you, if I can see a raise of hands, especially from our CR group, how many of you have had the chance to brief over the CR guidebook? Okay, what about the Global Ambassador guidebook? Okay, so maybe I'm thinking I didn't see any hands, so I'm wondering if you just couldn't raise your hand, or if perhaps you are just using this day right here, this time together to get more information, which is perfectly fine. Just wanted to know what I was working with. So for our agenda today, I'm going to clarify for you the role of the community rep, the role of the global ambassador, and of course the program coordinator role. And then we're going to spend quite a bit of time on how to search for a global ambassador. What does that look like? What would be and a really effective global ambassador in one of your high schools? So that's really what we're going to concentrate on today. And feel free to ask questions as we're going through. Raise your hand or throw it in the chat and we'll get to it. Otherwise, we will offer some time at the end of the presentation as well for additional questions. Okay? All right. So we really feel that this program is a win for students, for global ambassadors, for schools, for host families, and of course for our CRs. And a beautiful thing is that administration welcomes these leadership opportunities for students. So we know that when exchange students adapt and engage quickly, everyone benefits, right? Our schools gain confidence in our Ayusa program, host families feel supported, global ambassadors are going to develop leadership skills, and our exchange students are better supported and included. When our exchange students are more active in school activities and engaged with their host families, this can potentially reduce the risks of homesickness and culture shock. And as an extra bonus, AUS's increased visibility in schools and communities can help recruit host families for you in the future. That is our hope. That is our goal. All of the above. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your role. And again, a big push here was to simplify your role. The feedback that I had mentioned earlier, CRs gave us the feedback that said, although they value this program very much, they really didn't have the time to implement it and to structure it and to offer the support needed frequently from the global ambassador. And so we listened, and that's the part that we have simplified for you, the whole overall role of the community representative. So the role currently of the CR for our revamp program is global ambassador selection. So you're going to search for that global ambassador and select them. That ensures that you have somebody that you really want to work with, that you feel comfortable with, and it keeps that in your wheelhouse. There's monthly check-ins with the global ambassador, and that can go both ways, right? You can set it up that the global ambassador could speak with you or could reach out on a certain date. You guys can work on that together. Global ambassador invitations to any planned student events. So let's say that you are hosting an event with the exchange students in your area. You will invite the global ambassador to that, and hopefully they'll be able to attend. and build those relationships with our exchange students even further. And then the last one is to provide feedback on not only the support that you need as a CR in this program, but also the supports that you witness that perhaps our global ambassadors are needing. So, so really that is your role, right? It's not extensive. Again, we've revamped the program to um, allow you more time to do the other things that you need, the placements, the school visits, the grade checks, all of the things that we know that you're responsible for. So let's go into the global ambassador role and what should we look for in a student to be a great global ambassador in our school? A successful global ambassador will be welcoming, be interested in intercultural um, connections, be a good leader and a good role model, be engaged at school. Those are the ideals. And then the global ambassador, what their expectations are is for them to befriend our students, to be there for them if they have questions, maybe they're giving them a school tour, etc. And then they're also expected to organize one activity per month with the exchange students. And as we get deeper into this, you'll see that that one activity might sound like a lot, but it really doesn't have to be a convoluted activity, right? They could meet up at the lunch table for one day to have lunch together, or maybe go to a movie or go to the mall or something like that. But it also could simply be just going to a game with them, right? Asking them if they'd like to go to a game because that's going to integrate them more into our school system and allow them to be successful. Another responsibility of theirs is to communicate with you, the CR, once per month or more if there's any issues that they're witnessing in the school, if the student confides in them, if they see anything going on, they would communicate that with you so that you can follow up. They're not really responsible for the mentorship or the the logistics of what would take place if there was an issue. They really just are another set of eyes and ears for you. The global ambassador is also expected to positively promote cultural exchange and be open to developing their own leadership skills and their global competencies. How many of you know of a student who might be particularly good in this role? You want to raise your hand or you want to throw it in the chat? Would love to hear from you.
I think we've got a
Okay,
lot of people muted, so yeah, definitely use the chat. You guys will be paying attention to it, so pop it in there.
yeah, thanks. Would like to keep it interactive if possible. Your nephews, 14 and 16, that's fantastic. Heather, they would love to do this. You're right. Anyone else have somebody to mention?
Doesn't have to be family. That's just my connection and my
Yeah,
leadership and on leadership.
absolutely.
That's all.
Well, if you don't have anybody in mind, that's okay because we do have ways, and we're going to discuss some ways to get around that, get some input from school leaders, and still locate somebody. A host family's older daughter. Perfect. Yep. And a lot of times our host families are going to jump in and say, I know exactly who would be great. And you know who else jumps in and says that they know kids are school administrators and guidance counselors because they work with those kids. And frequently this is something that's missed in a school. Like you don't have a lot of global opportunities for our kids. And we know that they're going to need those in the future years, right? We're only becoming more open globally. And so something like this, an opportunity like this is definitely a benefit to them. And administration sees that and appreciates that we're offering this. For their efforts, global ambassadors can earn certificates. They might earn service hours that sometimes our schools are requiring now, letters of recommendation, Ayusa swag, because who doesn't want that, right? And continuous leadership, intercultural training, and much more. So we do want to reward them for all of the efforts and the time that they're putting into our program, for sure. All right, let's talk about how to find a great global ambassador for your high school. So these are the docs that are available to help you with your search, right? You have the CR Quick Guide, um, which is going to give you tips on how to locate a global ambassador, or if you don't have anybody particular in mind, how to or who to seek to find that global ambassador. The second one is a school info sheet, and this would later be put into, or could be put into one of your folders for schools. Let's say you don't have a global ambassador yet, and you're wanting to get some input from admin or the guidance counselors. That would be a great sheet to put inside that folder. When you go to a school, if you don't have anybody and you think, maybe I should post and just allow kids to ask to be a part of this. You could ask the administration if you could put this flyer up, and that would be a tool that you could use. And if you notice, we have that same QR code on all of these documents. That is going to take them to a location on our website that will have them fill out an interest survey and allow us to get more information to them. Now, at that point, we would make sure that our CRs are also aware of who that student is so that you have input from the start as to would you like a global ambassador in that particular school? And would you like to work with this student if you know of them previously? So all of that you would be a part of. The last tool that we have for you right here is this business card. And if you're coming to the national conference, I'm going to have these at the table for you to come and pick up. So please do come and grab a couple of them. Um, on there, you can see that there's a place for you to put your name, your phone number, and hand that off to a student maybe anybody that you know, or leave it with a host family that you know, for example, who might have a student that's at the high school and would be ideal for this. But then also, if you don't have that person, you again could leave that flyer to hang at the school, but you could also ask the administration, leave that card with them, put your name on it still, but leave that card with them and allow them to hand it off to a particular school leader that they're very um, that they know would be particularly effective in this role. So more than likely, they're going to know a student who's interested in cultures, who's interested in diplomacy, global issues, and those are the kids that we want in our program. Okay, any questions on those? Again, feel free to jump in and ask anything at any time. Just I want to make sure that you are understanding and that this is as simplistic as possible to make this easy for you. All
Hey,
right,
Joanne, just one quick
go
question.
ahead.
When you're thinking about like a student
Yeah.
that you might be able to work with, do
Hmm.
you already have to have a placement at that school, or is there like a setup that like if I'm working on something, how does that
Hmm.
work?
Very good question. So ideally, we're going to have one global ambassador in a school. And the ideal place would be if we have two or more exchange students within that school. The thought is with that is that there will be it'll be easier if you have multiple students, exchange students to form a group and to be able to help one another out. With those relationships, with meeting people, etc. But if it comes up to that there's only one student at the school, we can talk about that too. But that's just ideally at this point. Some other considerations that I would suggest to consider are do you want a sophomore or a junior student to be the global ambassador? Be thinking about driver's license. Will that student have to travel distances to get to your events? Additionally, the sophomore and junior age is great because seniors a lot of times have many things going on, and then by the end of the year they've kind of fizzled out because they are working a second job and they're trying to um, uh, beyond school, right? They're working to get ready for their college years or for whatever they're having after high school. And additionally, if they are applying for scholarships or going to college or another secondary option, um, that's when they're going to need their recommendation letters, right? Is after their junior year. So if we wait until senior, we've kind of missed the point there. But so these
Perfect.
2 pages in your guidebook will provide additional information, some teachers to check with, give you lots of tips. And in the end, if it comes that you are still having difficulties being able to locate a global ambassador and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this school, I would really like to have someone. If that's the case, please reach out to me and we can work together with the administration or with guidance counselors um, to find somebody to see if they have a recommendation for us. Happy to help with that. All right. Remember we talked about before that QR code? So here's that QR code again. And this is the page that it's going to take them to. There's no other way to get to it besides that QR code, but that will give us the information that we need. So in the case that you have put up a flyer and the student just contacts us, this is where it's going to go, and then we will reach out to you to ask you about that high school and that student. So again, there's 2 pathways to become a global ambassador. The first one is the CR knows already who they want. Fantastic, right? Or a high school student has expressed interest based on the flyer or based on that card that you handed out, but they're going to come to us and then we'll follow the same procedure for all students. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Um, Once you, as the CR, have said that you would like to have that global ambassador, I will take charge and get them these forms. Of course, with any kind of a role, we have to have release forms. There's a leadership recommendation, which for the schools, that they will uh, let us know that this student is an upstanding student and that they think they would be a wonderful asset to our program. That leadership recommendation also lets us know that the administration is seeing Ayusa's name again, right? It's great visibility for us, and we are adding value to their schools, which is all over fantastic. The only form that you would see for CRs, the only form that you're probably going to see is this pledge because it does have your signature on it. It's kind of your verification checkpoint to say, yep, I want to work with this student. And the rest of them, all of these forms should be uploaded onto the app. I'll give the students exact instructions on where to put that and how to get that to me. Okay, so don't let them ask you to upload it for them. That's on them. They should definitely do that. All right, and in your guidebook, one more little tool. There's lots of tools in there for you to be looking at for the search and selection of your global ambassador. These are some planning considerations that you might want to look at. Once you have your global ambassador in place, just a few notes to kind of think about to make sure that your communication flow is going to work well, that they have all the information they need. You're going to share the exchange students' names, etc. So keep that in mind. Go back to that once you have your global ambassador, or reach out and let me know if there's anything that I can help with. All right, so we have already looked at the role of the CR, the role of our global ambassadors, and then how to look for that global ambassador and who would be phenomenal in those roles. So I'm only going to touch on this little part here. What are the supports that we're giving global ambassadors? Because again, we took that off of the CR, knowing that that was the heavy lifting, right? Like, what do I do? Where's the structure? How do I inform my global ambassadors on certain aspects of intercultural exchange? So AUSA is going to take that role for you. So you don't have to do anything with these, but these are supports that we are going to provide for them. And I hope that you will see that. Our goal is that you will see that in their relationships, in their communication with our students, with our exchange students, that they are more prepared and able to have discussions and be more empathetic and understanding of what it is to be an exchange student and what they might actually be going through. So over here, you see an app, and you can have access to this if you'd like. If you want to be hands off, that's okay too. But just know that it is a tool that we're going to be using with our exchange student or with our global ambassadors, right? And on that app, that's where they'll put their monthly activity reports. Um, our students in our pilot have been phenomenal with this and helping what they think they're going to need in this role. And so they've asked for quarterly meetings on homesickness, culture shock, leadership. They've asked for guidance for activities, which you can see this list here with our activity ideas kind of came from our pilot kids. Kickoff meetings, right? What to start with, how to begin the year off well with our kids. And then, of course, these supports at their fingertips. They will, from time to time, get a newsletter so they can have that as their tool as well. And then on that app, there are tons of resources for them about culturegrams that we've had our team work on to help them understand different cultures that we work with. Resources on getting to know each other games, right, that they might play when they're with students, like conversation lists, that kind of thing, icebreakers. And then, of course, anything that they might need on culture shock, homesickness, understanding, the ebb and flow of a student that's coming over and what they might be going through emotionally when they're an exchange student. And also, I think this will prepare our high school students for if they ever go abroad, right? Where there's that value that we're putting into our schools again and making sure that they grow as individuals. Very important overall. So the timeline that we have here, um, the application process, this is ideal, right? Right now, the application process has opened because we released all that information to UCRs. And ideally, we would have everybody in place. I don't know if it'll happen, but ideally, we'd have everybody in place by the end of May. Because here's the thought on that. Schools start closing, right, in beginning of June, and it would be great to have all of our global ambassadors lined up by then. I know that'll be quick, but we're only accepting 25 to 30 kids this year because we really want to make sure that this is an outstanding program and want to make sure that we do it right and that it's here for a long time to come. So end of May would be the end of the application process. July and August, having two kickoffs because we know that some kids arrive later, so we might still be placing. Well, I know we'll be done by July, right? But if we're not done by July, then we'll have another kickoff in August. And then those quarterly workshops that I was discussing, you can think of one, you can plan on one being right the end of September, October for those homesickness conversations, culture shock perhaps, January. Again, that's a tough time after the holidays, right? April, getting ready for the end of the year. But again, so when students are becoming global ambassadors, right, they have that once a month time to be with our students and they're checking in with us on that. But then the bigger things like this, which ironically, this is one of the most important or one of the things that the kids that our pilot kids were most excited about is this networking with kids from across the country that have similar interests in intercultural activities. So they are super excited about that part. So I wouldn't want to get rid of that ever. but hopefully our kids will use those opportunities to grow and to network with other students with those same interests. So I hope you encourage students in your communities to be a part of this program because they are going to have a great year. I know they will.
So Sue, I
Any,
just have a quick question. Like
go
what,
ahead.
so say I'm like interested and I have someone in mind, what do I do now? Like what's the very next step?
Okay, great question. The very next step would be to have that student give that student this QR code and have them fill in that interest inventory because that's going to give us the preliminary information that a student would need or that we would need to be able to contact them and work through the rest of the measures. And again, that's not something the CR has to work on. They really need to just be able to tell me yes or no, and then we'll go from there, right? Then I kind of do the background work and I will make sure that the CR is kept in the loop with all of the information, but there's not a lot of action that needs to happen once that global ambassador is accepted by the CR. Does that make
Very
sense?
cool. That's great.
Awesome. What other questions might you have? We are coming to the end here. I feel like I gave you a lot of information, even though I tamed it down.
It was good. It was good information and super helpful. So
Good, good. CRs, do you have any questions? I am hoping that you have someone in mind or at least know of some school personnel who might be able to put you in the right direction.
I was wondering, I joined a few minutes late because I had some technical issues, and you mentioned something about a handbook. Where would I find
Yeah,
that?
it should be in your email.
Oh,
I I can't see who's saying that. Who's saying that?
Pamela.
Oh, Pam. Okay. I'll make sure that you get it if you didn't get it, but you should have. But yes, it
Oh,
should be in your
okay.
email along with um, all these documents should be in there as well.
Okay,
It
would they
was
have been sent with with the initial invite?
yes, with the
Oh,
initial
okay.
invite, it should have been in there. I think it says the tagline says something about global ambassador, but these sheets should be in there as well as the two guidebooks. Um, and again, the CR guidebook will only be seen by you, right? So you also get to take a look at the student handbook just because that's valid information for you, right? But the students only get the student handbook or the guidebook.
Okay. All
Was
right,
there enough?
thanks.
You bet. I'm not able to use my mic for some reason. Claudia, do you have any questions you want to throw in the chat? Oh, good point. Heather brought up that those emails came from the Global Ambassador email address, not mine. So thanks, Claudia. So how many of you have, I'm just curious, how many of you have perhaps a student that you think would really excel in this role? I know I'm putting you on the spot. How many of you think you would like to do this program? Yay, Elizabeth.
yeah, and you can pop it in the chat too if you guys want to answer that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Excellent. If Heather brought up, if you don't have a student, where are you going to look for one? Do all of you have a high school where you think a global ambassador could be useful, could be an effective tool for you? Kayla has one at church. That's awesome. That's another, I didn't put that in the guidebook, but that's great. Would love to. Stacy says that's fantastic. Sure, Pamela, I understand that. Claudia says maybe local high school. That's awesome. Thanks everybody for throwing the hearts and the thumbs up in
I
there.
think Miranda and I are in a competition to see who gets it first.
Which one of you is using the hearts and which one's using the thumbs up? I love it. Oh. Well, honestly, thank you everyone for the support of this program. And please do reach out if there's any questions that come up. If you're at the national conference, swing by the booth that will be at the cultural fair on Thursday. Or if you're not there, or if you want to reach out, just go ahead and do that on via email, and I'll be happy to answer any questions and get you in the right direction or do whatever I can to help.
Sounds amazing. Thank you, Sue Ann. That was great.
Thanks everybody for coming.
All right, everyone. Have a nice day.
Yeah, have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Talk
Thank you.
soon.
You too.
Thank you.